Welcome back. In the last video, we had discussed about the types of nakshatras, uh, which are called Dhruva, Chara, Ugra, Mishra, etc. And these are correlated to the 7 weekdays. Like Dhruva nakshatras are related to Sunday, Chara nakshatras to Monday, and so on. And this basically defines the types of activities which can be done in these nakshatras. And I had also tried to understand and show to you the kind of pattern. Just to show, this was a slide where I showed the kind of pattern in the horoscope amongst the 12 signs of how these particular types of nakshatras are divided, and if we can get a deeper understanding of that through this. Now today, what we'll be doing is we'll be starting with the first of these nakshatras, Dhruva, and we will also cover one more Mridu nakshatras, because if you go back to this table, you can see that Dhruva nakshatras, whatever activities are done over here can be done in Mridu. Okay, and while it's not mentioned, it's one has to understand it's vice versa. Whatever can be done in Mridu can also be done in Dhruva. So we will look at both of these together. Again, in future, similarly, what we'll do is we will cover maybe Chara and Laghu, then maybe Ugra and Darun and so on. So today we'll be covering these two. Hopefully, I would be able to cover both of these types of nakshatras. So I had mentioned a bit about Dhruva Nakshatra last time around. There are four nakshatras in this group. See, there are overall 7 types of nakshatras, and totally there are 28 nakshatras, including Abhijit. So on an average, you will have four nakshatras in each group. Though in reality, there is like Mishra category which has only 2 nakshatras, and there are a couple of other categories which have 5 nakshatras. So in this case, Dhruva is having 4, and they are the 3 Uttaras. This is an easy way to remember, as I had mentioned in the previous lecture as well. The 3 Uttaras and Rohini. Okay. Um, if you notice, out of these 3 Uttaras, Uttarashadha and Uttara Falguni are both ruled by, the Graha linked is also Sun. Okay. For Rohini it is Moon, and for Uttara Bhadrapada it is Saturn. Okay. And the Devatas are, for Rohini, the Devata is Prajapati. For Uttara Falguni, it is Aryama. Uttara Falguni, the symbol is like the 4 legs of a bed, of a marriage bed. Okay, so it shows a kind of a marriage, a family coming, a husband and wife coming together. Then for Uttara Bhadrapada, it is Ahirbudnya. Okay, and for Uttarashadha, it is actually, I believe it is Vasu, is it? Yeah. No, not Vasu. It is Vishnu in some form, though I'm not able to. Sorry, it is Vishwadeva. I'm so sorry. I completely missed it out. Yeah. So these are the devatas of these nakshatras. In the literature, typically Muhurta literature, the generally the nakshatras are referred by the names of the devatas. Okay, this was something I had mentioned in the previous lecture as well. For example, Shatabhishaji is mentioned as Toyapa. Okay, Chitra is mentioned as Twashtra, because Twashtra is the lord or devata of Chitra nakshatra. So on so forth. Okay, so in Dhruva nakshatras, we basically do activities which you want to last for a very long time. Okay, these have to be stable, permanent, fixed. Okay, and when something is fixed, people can use it as a marker for direction. For example, say a milestone, it is fixed in a place, right? And say some landmarks you have, right? For example, say in Bangalore, you have the legislative assembly, which is called Vidhan Sabha. That's a fixed, that's a landmark. You mentioned that this is the place. So things which are fixed. Also, since Dhruva is associated with sun, We also associate it with administration, governance, government, king, and so on. Okay, so hence with politicians as well. Okay, hence Dhruva Nakshatras are something which are very good for coronation or oath taking ceremony of the of say a chief minister or prime minister. That's that level of person, that level of leader. Okay. Uh, the words mentioned, the kind of activities which can be done is bija. Okay, bija means sowing seeds. Bija literally means seeds, so it is sowing seeds. Okay, graha means housewarming. So we do graha pravesh whenever we start living in a home. Before that we do a puja, and that is called graha pravesh. Okay, so you want to live in a house for a long period of time, and you want to be very stable and settled over there. You don't want any changes. Okay. Shanti. Shanti had referred again in previous lecture as when you want to when you want to pacify a deity or a graha which is agitated. Okay, so you want to pacify it and settle it so that it is peaceful and it gives your blessings. Arama. Arama means places of where you can have leisure resorts, for example, or gardens, okay, and so on, so forth. Why this is coming? Because I told that this is similar to Mridu Nakshatras. There's a bit of influence of Mridu Nakshatra over here, I would say. But again, this is about not going to a leisure resort. This is about laying the foundations of a leisure resort. So what is being said is, even though a leisure resort, you may say, it is more like, you are just going for a resort for a few days and all that. But laying foundations of anything, be it leisure resort or anything, any sort of building, one should do in Dhruva Nakshatra if you want it to be lasting for a long period of time. Narapati Pattana, which means coronation ceremony. Sadhana Pravesha, when you want to enter a very important building, which here specifically the reference is to a palace or an assembly, a legislative assembly, those sort of things. Recently, we had a opening of the new parliament building in India. Okay, so such kind of activities have to be done in Dhruva Nakshatra. Okay, as I said, the activities in Mridu Nakshatra can also be done in Dhruva Nakshatra. These are the activities which I mentioned over here. You can have a look at it. These are more of music, dance, entertainment, friendly. What you would do with friends. You'll go and have a good time, enjoyable activities like that. Okay. Also things linked to land, trade, agriculture, cattle, and all that. Here, what I've done is I have mentioned in green. What you see is the what is called the Samskaras. Okay, I'm sorry. I think Haya and Abhisheka should not come as part of that, but Pratishtha definitely yes. Simanto Nayana. Okay, so Simanta is one of the samskaras which are done typically in the 6th or 8th month of pregnancy of a lady, especially for the first child. So this is done for the first child. Vivaha is marriage. Um, Pratishtha is installing something. It could be installing a deity in a temple, for example, or installing anything important. You want to install a new puja cabinet in your home. You want it to be moved and all that, so you can do it on this day. So these are very common things because, as I had mentioned earlier, in those days, this was largely used for muhurtas, was largely used for the samskaras or what you call sacraments in a way. I think that's what it's called in English. These are important rituals which are done in the lifetime of an individual, which are like a key, you may say, change of phase of a person. Okay, sorry. Then in red, what I mentioned is what is sort of individual to this particular nakshatra, which is sort of defining this nakshatra. So for Rohini, it is Vastra and Bhusha, okay, which is something you don't find in the three Uttara nakshatras. So Vastra means garments, Bhusha means ornaments. So it is wearing ornaments, garments, some new ornaments or garments you want to wear, because Rohini is associated with moon, and this is moon in Taurus, so it's exalted moon that way. So and you know, Rohini in our Puranas was most favorite wife of Chandra. Okay, so Chandra used to spend a lot of time with her and would neglect his all the nakshatras were basically the daughters of Daksha Prajapati, and who were given as wives to moon god, that is Chandra. And Chandra would spend more time with Rohini and not with the others. Okay, and Chandra is someone who likes, you know, having a good time, friendly time, that kind of thing. And Rohini would be, you know, someone you can imagine always very well dressed, you know, very high class, you know, looking very tip top, you may say. Okay, you can imagine that sort of lady. So a very high class lady, very well dressed, classy in her looks. Okay, posh is another word which you can think of. That is the kind of image you can think of a Rohini lady. They will like the good things. They know what are the good things, you know, in terms of dress and ornaments and all the accessories, etc., that a person has. Um, the Uttaratraya is primarily for Pravesha, Sthapana. Ashvi is basically horses. So let's say you want to establish a stable. Okay, start buying a horse, for example. Let's say you can look at this. Sthapana and Pravesha. Pravesha is basically entering some new place. So it's like Graha Pravesha. Okay, and Sthapana is, as I mentioned earlier, installing something. Okay. Now, I wanted to show that yes, there are some important events. Okay, so this is how we can understand how they have been used in actual predictive astrology. So, the Indian Republic, I'm not talking about the India's independence, but the Republic, India becoming a republic, that happened on 26th of Jan 1950, and it was, I believe, at around 10 o'clock or so. And at that time, the Lagna was in Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra, okay, which is a Dhruva Nakshatra. Okay, see, typically you would want some important point in the chart associated with a Dhruva Nakshatra. It generally we look at the moon Janma Nakshatra or the moon Nakshatra to be associated, but it can also be Lagna, it can be some other important planet, as I will show in some of the slides in the forthcoming slides. Uh, the swearing in ceremony of Nehru, which happened immediately after the night, that is 14th-15th night, was when we had our independence. The morning after that, that is on, or was it? Yeah, morning after that. This was at around 8:30 a.m. or so. At that time, Lagna was in Uttara Falguni. That's when Nehru was sworn in as the prime minister. Okay, and you can, you know, he is still our longest serving prime minister, who had been at the helm for 17 years, from 1947 to 1964. Okay. um, the other important and very recent activity which happened was the swearing in of Narendra Modi, our current Prime Minister. This happened on 30th of May 2019, and at that time, Moon was in Revati Nakshatra. Okay, and the Sun was in Rohini Nakshatra. Okay, so Moon was in what you call Mridu Nakshatra, and we have said that, you know, you can do the activities of Dhruva Nakshatras in the Mridu Nakshatras as well. Okay, and Sun was in Rohini. Okay, so you may say also that Moon is a dispositor of Sun because Sun is in Taurus. Okay, and okay, in our tradition we consider Taurus to be also ruled by Moon apart from Venus. Okay, Taurus is considered as the Mula Trikona sign of Moon. Okay, so these were some important events. Now we'll show you one natal chart and how we can see this aspect of Dhruva in a natal chart. Not just about the Dhruva aspect, but also how the nakshatra links to this. So this is the chart of Greta Garbo. She was a very, very famous and very beautiful actress. You can see her a picture over here, right? And this is the chart I have given all the three different styles of charts: South Indian, East or the Surya Chakra, and the North Indian or the Shukra Chakra. This is called the Guru Chakra, the South Indian part. So she has her Lagna and Jupiter, which is very, very strong in this chart. With Jupiter in Lagna is considered to be in Digbala or having very high directional strength. And um, this Jupiter is alone, so that makes it also even more stronger, because typically if Jupiter is some other planet, even if it is moon for that matter, the level of what Jupiter is in terms of its Digbala, that can be affected. But here Jupiter is absolutely alone. Okay, there's only the aspect of Mars over here, which is not really that much of a problem, I would say. Um, this is very, very strong Jupiter, and both the Lagna and Jupiter is very, very closely conjunct the Lagna. Lagna is at 12 degrees and Jupiter is at 13 degrees. So within just about a degree of difference. Uh, so Lagna, what the thing about Lagna is our decision making ability, our decision making itself. Okay, we call it buddhi, okay, or our viveka. Okay, this is our discrimination. So the moon may influence the mind, and mind is definitely powerful and important. But ultimately, the one who decides is Lagna. Okay, and here this is a very, very strong and powerful Lagna, especially with Jupiter so closely conjunct, and both of them are in Rohini. Remember, we had talked about garments and ornaments, Vastra Bhusha, in the context of Rohini. So Greta Garbo, she actually was not born into a rich family or anything. She was born in pretty, I think, poor circumstances, and she rose up from very, very low background, humble background. And she initially was in fact working in a garments and a garment store, a clothing store, and then she was noticed by someone, and then she started modeling, and then her career took off from there. Uh, so you can see how well dressed, and I gave the image of a classy woman as with regards to um, Rohini, and that's what you can Greta Garbo sort of typifies that. Also, the Lagnesha of this is that is Taurus is Venus, right? And Venus is the Amatya Karaka as well. So there is a link to the carrier. So you see, this garments, ornaments, and definitely as a celebrity, this is something you are definitely closely associated with, and these are part of your image, right? Um, this Venus is definitely indicating that, and the Arudha Lagna comes in the sign of Virgo. Okay, and Virgo we generally definitely associate with uh, people in the entertainment industry, in the cinema industry, and all that. Okay, it is ruled by, we say, the Aditya for this Vivaspan Aditya. Um, there are other aspects also which show, the this is lauded by Mercury, okay, and Mercury also is about arts and art, things of an artistic nature. So that's what she was into, okay. And this Ardha Lagna is very, very well supported. 11th house from there is this Venus, which is the Lagnesha, okay. This Ardha Lagna has Sun, which is the Graha, the weekday Graha, linked to Dhruva type of stars. Okay. So that is another influence of Dhruva coming in. Her life was very interesting in the sense that at the height of her popularity, she was in her mid 30s. She all of a sudden chose to retire completely from filmmaking. She lived till I think 85 or 90, the age, almost 50 years after that, and she didn't act in a single film. Okay, she was a very much of a reclusive sort of person. At least she didn't want. She was very much different from a typical celebrity. You know, you associate someone who always wants to be in a limelight. She was the exact opposite of it. She didn't want limelight. She wanted to be left alone. Okay, she stayed very aloof from publicity and all that. So. Uh, it is not a typical, and I think that has got to do with Jupiter influencing in Lagna. Okay, someone who is very much, I think, comfortable in their own skin, they really don't want attention from others. Rather, they want to be away from others. Okay, um, yeah. So she lived a pretty secluded and quiet life, and I would say dignified life, and with time she passed away. Okay, so this was one example of Dhruva Nakshatra. You could see the influence of Rohini and the link to. It's not that Rohini would always mean an entertainment industry. Here there are other aspects. Okay, like the Amatya Karaka being Venus, which also indicates entertainment industry. The Arda Lagna being in Virgo, which also gives us influence of entertainment industry. 11th house from there is having the same Venus. So there are many other factors, but this definitely Lagna and Jupiter being in Rohini, that gives an affinity towards having clothes ornaments. My conjecture is that her, she was not the kind of person who actually wanted celebrity status, or wanted to have a lot of people influence. That's one of the things, prime motivations of those who become film stars. They want that adulation and all that. She was the exact opposite of it. My contention is that, or my conjecture is that, her interest in being a film star was largely due to the opportunity to wear garments and ornaments. In fact, there are certain comments which are said, some of the attire she would wear, even if it is a very simple attire, on her it will look very beautiful. Okay, she had that ability to make even a very normal and ordinary attire look, on her as something very regal and classy. And that is the impact of Rohini. Okay, I think she wanted to have her joy having wearing ornaments and garments. And once she earned enough money, and she did not need to actually work to have all those high class things, she said, okay, fine, I don't I what I need is the garments and ornaments. I don't want to work, really. I don't want all this, because she was a very introvert sort of person. Didn't want too many people coming into her privacy, her private life. Okay, so that's what I think. This nakshatras, the thing about nakshatras is they show the inner mind, which is something you can't really see from the planets. The analysis just bases on planets and Arda Lagna and all that. They're not showing what is going inside the person. And here, the Lagna, this is a decision making. This is very important for decision making for in her case. Okay. So I hope this was an interesting example. We'll, I think, now move to the next type of nakshatra, which is Mridu Nakshatra. I've given the images just to give the kind of idea of what this nakshatra means. The Mridu, the kind of activities, as I said, is music, dance, clothes, ornaments. You can see this is an example. Okay, I believe this is Kuchipudi style of dance. Okay, or is it Bharatanatyam? I'm not very sure. Maybe someone can tell me. Um, so these are, it's called Gita. Gita means music. Vastra, which is clothes. Krida, Krida means sports. So sports and entertainment also. So sports is also included, which is, and sports today is definitely, and even those days, was something which was entertaining to people. And today's sportsmen are basically entertainers. Okay. So, okay, one very important aspect, there is a mention over here of Tiryang Mukha. So let me explain that in the case of Dhruva Nakshatras. So Dhruva Nakshatras are called Urdhva Mukha. So I missed mentioning this. So there is a classification of nakshatras called Urdhva Mukha, Tiryang Mukha, and Adho Mukha. Urdhva Mukha means upward looking. Urdhva means up, Mukha means where you're looking. Tiryang means looking at straight, at your eye level. And Adhomukha means looking down. These also define the kind of activities which are done. So there are certain activities you would do urdhva. So let's say you are hoisting a flag, you would look up, right? Let's say you're walking, you would not look up or you would not look down, you would rather look straight and walk, right? And let's say you're digging a well, you will be looking down. Okay, so just to give an idea, so similarly, you should think about what each activity is implying, and we'll come to that. So all the Dhruva Nakshatras are part of what is called Urdhva Nakshatras also. Okay, um, and I think all the Mridu Nakshatras are part of the Tiryangmukha Nakshatras. This is not necessarily the case for other types. It's not like all of them fall in one of these brackets, but this is so in the case of these two types. So let's say you want to travel, vehicle, roads, and all that are part of this three Mukha Nakshatras. Okay. These are the four nakshatras which are part of it: Mrigashira, Revati, Chitra, and Anuradha. Mrigashira is ruled by Soma. Revati is ruled by Pusha. Actually, Pusha is one of the Adityas, who's associated normally with the sign of Tula. And Chitra's lord is Twashtra. He is also another Aditya, and who's actually associated with the sign Aquarius. Anuradha is ruled by Mitra, who's again an Aditya. So very interesting. Three of the nakshatra devatas over here are also Adityas. Honestly, I am also noticing this point now. So Mitra Aditya is associated with Gemini as a sign. Okay. Uh, and Mriga and Chitra, the Lord is Mars. That is one of the commonalities over here. Mrigashira and Chitra. Revati, the Lord, it's not right to call Lord, but rather the Graha associated with Revati is Mercury, and the Graha associated with Anuradha is Saturn. Okay. Yes. Now, okay, these are the various activities, and again, as I said, the green color generally show the samskaras generally done. Simanto, Nayana, Vivaha, Kshora, and all that. I have done a few mistakes over here, like Vastu should not exactly be over here, but maybe what I'm trying to show over here with Vastu and all is that these are common across many. So okay, so basically the green means I would like to correct myself on this. Basically, green is those activities which are pretty common across many nakshatras. Here it is basically like okay, you can do these activities. These are activities which may have to be done at any point of time. For example, kshora literally means shaving or haircut. Okay. Now, you would rather want Kshora to be across many nakshatras and restricted only in a few nakshatras because you may want to shave or have a haircut much more often. Okay. So hence these vivaha you don't want to, because already there are so many other rules of when a vivaha should be done and all that. You don't want the number of nakshatras in where vivaha can be done to be very few. So hence these are distributed across many nakshatras. Similarly, Simanta you will find Pratishtha and so on and so forth. So what we should actually focus upon is those marked in red, because these are what is sort of typifying what is individual to that specific nakshatra. Okay, so here it is mentioned Gaja Oshtra Ashva Yatra. Gaja means elephant, Oshtra means camel, Ashwa means horse. So traveling on this, basically in today's times, no one is travel. I mean, very few people, if any, travel on these animals. Mostly we travel in our vehicles. Basically, it is about traveling. Let's say you want to go on a long journey or something, or even a short trip. You want to go on a picnic, especially. I would not say long journey. You want to go on a picnic with friends, because Mridu generally encourages activities involving friendships and all that. So, choose a Mridu Nakshatra. You can go on a outing, picnic, or a short trek to somewhere. Okay. Chitra, one of the things mentioned in red is Vidya. So, you want to start studying something new, gain some new knowledge. Chitra is a very good nakshatra for that. Anuradha, Ashtamangalam. Ashtamangalam is a type of prashna, actually speaking. But Ashtamangalam actually means there are 8 different types of offerings which are given, which are offered in a puja to a deity, to God. Okay, so Ashta means 8. So 8 different types of things. You may have Nevedya, Dhupa, Deepa, and so on and so forth. Okay, Vastra and Sandhi Vigraha. Sandhi Vigraha means war and peace, literally. So it is means diplomacy, basically. You want to decide, okay, I want to compromise, or I want to figure out a deal. There's a conflict between two people, and I want to figure out a deal between us so that things are settled, and we achieve a compromise. So best is to do it on Anuradha Nakshatra. Say two countries are having a war, and they want to decide, okay, when will we have when will we come together and discuss on the table for a treaty. So best is, or one party wants to send an envoy to another party to to close the conflict. So this would be the best nakshatra. See, the name of the devata is Mitra. Mitra literally means friendship. So it is indicating something which can make people, forget their enmity and come closer, becoming more friendly to each other. Revati, the one in red over here, is Bheshaja. Bheshaja literally means a physician, okay, a doctor. And now I'll be showing you a couple of examples of how Revati Nakshatra is very strongly influencing the chart, and this is the cases of two doctors. Okay, so the first one is a doctor who is, basically involved before and after a very major operation is conducted. So it is firstly to get the patient ready and to be very sure that he can go through the operation, and once the patient has gone through the operation, to help him recuperate back to a normal condition. Okay, so that is the specific role of this particular doctor whose chart I am showing. He's a friend and an associate of mine. Now, what you see over here, uh, you have Vargotama Venus. Now, first point, we are talking of Mridu Nakshatras, and Venus is coming into picture over here. Venus is strong over here. Okay, this is a Vargotama exalted Venus. This Venus is the Atma Karaka also of this person. So, from a very deep soul level, this individual wants to do this. Not just that, it is also the Shubhapati, that is the Lord of the Moon sign. The Lord of the Moon sign is very important to sustain you, to give you food, to help you connect with the society, where the society supports you. Okay, the Shubhapati, or the Lord of the Moon sign's job is to do that, and he is very auspicious, especially if he is so very well placed. Okay, in fact, the 10th Lord from Moon also shows the specific carrier, the carrier which will put food on the platter for you. And the Lord of that is Moon, and Moon's dispositor is the same Venus. Okay, and Moon is in the Revati Nakshatra. Okay, so this Moon is, as I've shown you, very strongly influencing this chart, and it is in Revati Nakshatra. And Revati, we have seen, is one of the indications is a doctor. Okay, and here the Amatyakaraka Rahu is also conjoined. Amatyakaraka is also has influence on the career you take, and the 10th Lord, okay, from the Bhava perspective, is Jupiter, and Jupiter is having a very strong Parivartana yoga with this Rahu. Okay, and again his Jupiter is the Lord of this sign, so he's influencing Venus. So there are so many strong indications which are bringing the strength of Venus to the fore over here. Okay, Putra Karaka, Mercury is also in Revati. Putra Karaka will give you students and will give you followers. Okay, people whom you take care of. I don't know. Maybe you can consider patients as someone who you are taking care of, at least for a certain period of time. Okay. Um, so yeah, so that is what I wanted to highlight over here. Okay, um, so this person has, we consider Venus or Shukracharya is the one who got the Mrityunjay mantra from Lord Mahadev, Shiva, right? And hence we say Venus, whenever it is so strong, and especially linking to doctor and linking to Revati, it means it has a strong Mrityunjay power. Mrityunjay power is something which helps you come back. Venus is the one which helps you rejuvenate. Okay, it has a rejuvenation power, and that is the power this doctor has. He's able to recuperate and rejuvenate his patients back to normal health. Okay, so this is one doctor. Now I'll show you another doctor, but he is a different type of doctor. Okay, so this person is a liver transplant surgeon. He is a surgeon, and liver transplant is one of the most complicated surgeries involved because of the sheer number of blood vessels that have to be that have to be cut, and and then you can basically do the transplantation of liver to the person. So it's a very complicated and intricate operation, and what do we have in the chart over here? Again, we see that Venus is in Revati Nakshatra. Okay, and this Venus is conjoined the Amatya Karaka Mercury. Okay, uh, is there any link to Lagna? I would like to have that, because Lagna Lagna definitely has an influence on the path you take in life. Okay, so here the Lagna lord is Surya, sun, which is who is very strong and exalted. His lord is Mars, his dispositor is Mars, which is conjoined this Venus and Mercury over here. Okay, Venus is also the 10th lord, so that way that also influences moon to Venus to influence career. Mars is also the 10th lord from moon, so this is something which is putting, sustaining the person. It is paying the bills basically, right? And Mars specific, when the influence of Mars, okay, in the previous case there was no Mars involved. When Mars becomes involved over here, as we can see, Mars is the Shupati, it is the dispositor of the Lagna Lord, my mistake. Then Mars would want the person to be surgeon, because Mars is, involved in cutting things, doing precise work and all that. So Mars is very important for a surgeon. Okay, and this Mars is the Atma Karaka over here, and it is in Revati Nakshatra. So clear. This Mars is so important. It is conjoined with this Venus. It definitely gives the person the ability to, I mean, liver transplant. I mean, many of these patients are can't say they are on the deathbed, but their situation is very critical. So here's a person who is able to bring them back to normal life from there. Okay, and Mars gives that ability to be a surgeon, to do that cutting work, because it's not that very easy. Okay, you need very strong nerves, and Mars is the one which gives the strength of the nerves. Okay, Majja Dhatu. Also, the Lagna has Rahu and Saturn over here, which indicates a lot of suffering people will come to this person. Okay, and he will be the person who will get them back on track. Okay, now we'll take a very different kind of example, and I think this will be the last slide for today. This is of Tiger Woods. As I said, Mridu is also about sports and entertainment. So here you have an entertainer. Okay, the Lagna is Virgo. Okay, and my gaze goes to Moon and Venus. I will focus on Venus because we are talking of Mridu Nakshatra. Okay, and this Moon and Venus are involved in a very nice Dhana Yoga over here. Okay, this is the yoga of the ninth lord and the 11th lord. Ninth lord Venus and 11th lord Moon. Though Moon is also the 11th, ninth lord also, because we consider Taurus to be also ruled by Moon. So this is a very nice Dhana Yoga. There is Nicha Moon, Nicha, Ucha, Nicha, Shrimanta Desi. So whether it's exalted or debilitated, it indicates a very high level of wealth. Okay, and this Moon again is Atma Karaka. You can see in all the previous cases also Atma Karaka influence is coming very strongly. Okay, there is Rashi Drishti of the Lagnesha on this, that is Mercury is having a Drishti on this. Okay, and what else do we have? The Amatya Karaka is Mars. Again, Mars, see the Mars is very important for competitive sports. Your ability to compete and fight. Because competitive sports is all about fighting. Your fighting skills have to be very, very strong. So Mars is the Amatya Karaka, and it is the lord of this sign. It is also aspecting this sign, making it very strong. So you have Mercury. Mercury is about sports in general, but this Mars is indicating the competitive nature of the sport. See, Mercury is about playing like a child, enjoying the game. Well, Mars is about focusing on winning the game. Okay, and Moon and Venus are bringing the Mula. Okay, bringing the Dhanam over here. Okay, what have I written? Yeah, more or less the same. Mercury is also the 10th lord, so hence Mercury has an influence on the career of the individual. So, uh, what we see over here, and why we are talking about Mridu here is Anuradha Nakshatra. Okay, so hence you don't have a Bheshaja, you don't have a physician, rather you have a sportsman. Okay, because it's more of the Venus, natural Venus influence coming in with that of Mercury and Mars, that makes him more of a sportsman. Okay, Anuradha Nakshatra, someone who's very friendly and all that. So I think this is the last slide. So this is all I have today. I hope this was an enlightening and entertaining session for you, and you got to learn a whole lot new things over here. Please do share your feedback and comments. I very much appreciate them. And for me also, this is a learning experience, as I said before, and I would definitely like to learn more. Thank you so much for patiently listening to me. Good night. Namaste.